Mr. Ndassa, currently there is a move by government to address agricultural production. Should Ugandans be excited about that policy?
I think people need to know that the bigger any country has a percentage of its population in agriculture, the poorer that country is. The moment a country has a big percentage of its population in agriculture, the poorer that country becomes. Let me give you an example. Our brothers in Kenya have 40% of their population in agriculture. And of course, you know that they have a bigger GDP than we do. South Africa, I think, has around 15 to 25% of its population in agriculture. And of course, you know it is a continental power. When you get to countries like China, America, they have a less percentage of their population in agriculture. Let me give you an example of France. France is 2.3 times bigger than Uganda in geographical size. It is estimated that France has around 650,000 farms. Uganda, which is 2.3 times smaller than France, is estimated to have over 2.5 million farms. But the production capacity from agriculture in France cannot be compared to the production capacity that Uganda has in agriculture. Therefore, we are just in smallholder farming. You see, people need to treat agriculture as a job. You need to treat yourself as an agriculturist in comparison to a lawyer. That not each and every person should be into this sector of agriculture. It needs professionals, it needs training, it needs adequate research. We need to kill that mentality that everyone can do agriculture. But most importantly, we need to raise a generation that no longer believes in looking after cows, growing matoke, and planting tomatoes and potatoes, so that we have few people in this sector that can do it at a commercial level. I am opposed to anyone who says that the 4-acre model that was launched a couple of years back can save this country. There is no homestead of 5 people that can survive and take their children to good schools, eat good food on 4 acres. It will not happen, and it can't happen. Agriculture can only be productive when it is on a larger scale. So if we have probably 70% of our population in agriculture, first of all, to start with, we're on a wrong footing. We need to make sure that those percentages go down and we opt for commercial agriculture. Agriculture on a large scale. The other thing is we need to make sure that agriculture, people in this sector contribute to the money economy or pay taxes. We need to have farms where the workers of those farms pay income tax, where the workers of those farms pay NSSF. As we're speaking, someone has maybe a square mile of land or something like that, is growing something, but is using people on a casual kind of level. They don't pay taxes, but they are working. They are not assured of the future, yet they are working. For me, I'm looking at agriculture in this perspective. An agriculture where I can get, instead of getting 50 million to buy 5 acres of land somewhere in Jazanga, I get 50 million to buy shares in an agricultural farm. We understand. An agricultural farm will have a board, will have managers, will have trained staff that do something that they're trained and understand. With this kind of agriculture where everyone wants to grow a bit of potatoes and onions here and there, it is not taking this country forward. So for me, my take, Ugandans need not to be excited. Let me give you an example. I was told by one of the managers and workers of a certain company that sells tractors that Kenya has bought or buys more tractors in 2 years than the number of tractors that Uganda has bought, agricultural tractors, since the coming of the NRM government. Now that tells you that agriculture in Kenya is commercial. It is employing people. You understand? Of course, there has been disengagement of exporting, that you can grow crops and export. You see, each and every country jealously protects its agricultural industry, because we know that our people, for example, our people in Uganda have to eat, but it would be counterproductive of us to open up the feeding of our people to a foreign country So each and every country jealously protects its agricultural sector. A country in Europe would jealously protect its 10% of a population that is in agriculture, even if it knows that when they open up that market, they can get cheaper commodities from Uganda or Africa. But they want to keep that 10% in the what? In the market. They don't want to take these people out of this sector by opening up their market. And of course, it was here in Kenya, where Kenya was denying Ugandan eggs, Ugandan milk, Ugandan maize to easily access their market. Even after knowing that our commodities were cheap, they have to jealously protect their population. So, in my opinion, one, we need to opt for commercial agriculture. And to look at commercial agriculture, we need to have fewer people engaged in this sector at a commercial level. Land has to be consolidated, brought together, and people become shareholders in such kind of farms that can grow extensively and employ people who are professionals. The second thing is we need to look at a percentage of people that thinks of other investments other than agriculture. Because now in Uganda, each and every person thinks of growing crops and looking after cows. We need to raise a generation that doesn't believe in looking after cows. A generation that believes that I can be an IT person, I can be an engineer, I can be an accountant, and I don't look into things of looking after cows. He grows that line so that we have a section of people who are trained, well nurtured in a certain sector that has fewer people, and then other sectors can also thrive. Of course, one would ask, where would you want people to get employed? Most of our people are employed. Of course, it is guised unemployment in that sector. But when I get time, at some point in time, I will try to explain to you which are the opportunities that can be exploited other than agriculture to cause employment to our people.